Hey everybody. I'm just gonna get right into my story. I'm gonna try to keep the chit chat for next video because this one gets pretty long. Um, Ever since I was little, I always seen a black circle above me. It was like a deep black, and the edges were like a fog, like fog edges. And it would follow me in every room, and I would play with it sometimes. Um, like I'd run around the house and have it chase me. And it was natural to me. Like my hair growing and my nails and um, I didn't know that everyone didn't have it until I got a little older, and I'm talking to my sister, and um, and okay, the deep black and the fog rim. I seen the light come on once. I'm playing with my toys, and I'm playing with my toys on the floor, and I see a light come on. The floor lit up, and I look up, and I see the black circle turned white because of a light. Um, and I look up, and I can hear voices and like scrambling, and I'm looking, and what I can see is I can see my bedroom ceiling, the halo, and it's not black anymore. Now it's lit up, but now that there's light, I can see another ceiling above mine, and it's the rectangles like an office. And I hear voices, and I'm looking, and I see three people all go to this side of the halo. They're usually a dude, a woman, and a dude, but this time the light's on, and they all go over here. And she's like, "Can she see me? Can she see us?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And I wave, and they wave. They're like, "Oh my god, okay." And just like that, the light was off, and it was black again, and I couldn't see them. I couldn't see a ceiling through the black, and whatever. Okay, so I knew there's three people in there, right? Um, I was like 4 or 5, right? And I would be scared in my room at night, and 2 times, I think, a couple times, I'm laying on my bed scared, and I look up, and the black light is, or the black ring is now blue. like it looked like a black light was on in there. And I'm laying there scared. It would happen to be like only when I'm scared. And I'm laying there, and I would just see it, and I'd feel better, and I'd feel safer. I'd know they were there, and I'd fall asleep. But one time I remembered to stay awake or to catch it, and I do. The blue light comes on, and I jump up. I'm on the top bunk, and I can stand on my bunk bed, which I can't usually do, but I can because the halo is open, and I can see the blue, so I know I can. It's just there. Like I stand up. There's an opening in my ceiling, and there's a guy, just the one guy, and so I'm jumping on my bed, and there's a dude looking over the halo, like he's looking at me, and he's watching me jump. And I tell him to pull me up, and I'm gonna jump, and I'm gonna jump as high as I can and grab onto me and pull me up. He's like, okay, like, we'll try. And we are, and it was like the Twilight Zone, the Christmas episode, when the ballerina, the soldier, the clown, they all don't know what they're doing in this circle room, in a cone room. It turns out they're toys. Anyway, it was like that, like the wall. And we touch a little, but not enough to where he can grip me and pull me. And I'm jumping. And for the first time, the halo, it's not on my ceiling. Like, I'm on my bed. It's right there. Just, I can keep jumping. Like, you guys are right there. Like, I know how close they are. But this time, the halo was going up and down and, like, fucking with us. So, like, we would touch, like, it'd go like this, and then it would go down, and we'd be able to touch, but he couldn't pull me up. And if he tried, it'd go back up. So we could just touch and just smile and don't even try to get pulled up, or we have to let go. So I remember doing that, and I remember getting mad, like, stop doing that. And he's like, I'm not doing it. And I kind of knew he wasn't, because both his hands were over, like, one's grabbing me and one's hanging on. I know he's not pushing the button, so I don't know. I'm like, he's like, I'm not doing it. Like, something else must be. And then I tell him, there's this house. The house I'm in, there's one or two houses, a street, and then a house. This house, I thought that I can take the stairs up to where he is. And I tell him this once we can't reach. I'm like, I know the way up there. It's just right, it's just two houses down. I was like, you can follow me. Unlock the door when we get there, I can go up the stairs and I can, that's the way there. He's like, no. He's like, no, that's not. I don't know why I thought that. But, he said that I do go there in my dreams sometimes. And I don't remember when I wake up the way people forget their dreams. And it made me kind of mad, like, but you're not a dream. You're real. And if I go up there, I don't want to forget you when I wake up. I didn't understand what he was telling me. And he said, don't do things like promise you won't leave that front door in the middle of the night trying to find stairs up here. And I'm like, why? Like, you're right there. Like, let's go. Like, you're right there. Let's just go. And he's like, no. He said, we'll always bring you back, but you might have trouble. Just don't do things just because you know we're here. And I'm like, okay. Like, something about it scared me. So I'm like, okay, I got you. And then he tells me to go to sleep because it's bad enough that the halo is moving up and down. And we got to stop trying to get me up there. And I got to go to sleep. And I do. He stays there. I think, I want to say he would tell me bedtime stories, but they weren't bedtime stories. They were movies that I would watch later. So I go to sleep. So I went to sleep. Told me to go to sleep, and he stayed there. The light stayed blue, and he stayed watching me, and I went to sleep. And then I'm getting older, and the people inside the circle was as natural to me as the spit inside my mouth. When you're 4, you don't talk about those things. But I'm getting older, and I talked to my sister about hers. Or I think I was telling her, like I was jumping out of the bed. I almost got pulled up there and shit. And she's like, what are you talking about? That's when I'm starting to understand not everybody has one. And she's like, what now? Like, she's like, nah. She's like, what now? Like, it's not like she didn't believe me. She was just like, what do you got? Like, what'd you see? And I told her. And she's like, you see a circle right now? I'm like, yeah. I'm like, you don't see it? Like, it's my first discussion. We're really little. I'm like, you don't see this black circle. Follows me in every goddamn room. She's like, no. I'm like, you don't have a black circle. No. Like, okay. Okay. So you don't have a black circle with 3 people following me around. She's like, nah, man. Nah. I'm like, okay. And then, but then I had a little brother. He had to be 1. He's in diapers. And I see if he can see him. And he can. He waves and he laughs and he's so excited. And he starts running around the room the way I would run around the house. I knew exactly what he was doing. And like, it seemed that he didn't have one either, because he surprised that mine. Like it's new, like, oh my god, like, cool, and starts running around, he's being excited. Like, if you have one, mine, like, he would be doing it with his, you know. I figured, I'm theorizing, I'm experimenting with this halo. Like, I didn't know not everybody had one. And so one day I'm playing toys and I get bored. Just like, I'm bored, I'm done, I'm gonna go up there. And I know to go to sleep. I don't take naps. Or I didn't take naps when I was little. But I go, stole the toys down, go jump on the bottom bunk. I remember how I was laying, my back was to the wall, and I was curled up facing this way, out to the window. It's the middle of the day, bright, sunny day. I don't know if it was spring or summer, but it wasn't cold. Bright. And I fell asleep. It was so weird. I don't know how I got there. I just fell asleep. And I get there. And I'm observing what I'm looking at. So, suddenly I'm standing there. There is, it's a dark room. It's an office. It's not very big. It's like a room. And it's dark, and I can see the ceiling that I seen when the light was on. I can see a door this way. It wasn't directly here. I had to turn a little bit to see a door here. It was just an office door. Like, just office. We were in an office. There was a desk in the middle of the room, a circle desk with buttons, a circle desk filled, it was all buttons going all around the room. And on this side of the circle, there was a dude, there's a woman, and there's a man. Okay, so I'm looking. So I see the halo, the ceiling, the dark, the door, the dude. There was a space, and then a woman, and then a man. Just the way I see him. Like that, when I seen him wave at me, like, can she see us? That wasn't the only time I seen them. Like, I know how they sit, and that's exactly how they were sitting. the, like, in the halo, whenever I would see him, the dude, like, the man is here, the woman is here, and the dude is always right here. And then, like, no one's sitting on this half. That's all I can tell you about the room right now. So, I'm just looking at, it's only a second, I'm just looking. And I see the people. The woman turns around first. And she turns and she's like, oh my God, like, what the fuck do we do? Like, oh my God. And then the king turns around and he's like, and he's looking like, what the fuck is going on? And dude turns around and he's like, fuck yeah, like, he hasn't done himself, like, oh yeah, yeah. His face expression was not like the king and queen. Like, he wasn't surprised. He was like, fuck yeah. But they were like, what the fuck do we do? They weren't talking to each other, they were asking themselves that. But when they were reacting, I stopped smiling. Because when I see them, I'm like, what up? And they're like, oh my God. So when they did that, my smile dropped. Because I felt like I was in trouble. And she's still like, she's like, come here. And I go running over there. And she picks me up. And we swivel. They're all sitting on office chairs too. I left that out. They're all on wheels, you know, and the chairs swivel. So when they see me, they're swiveling on their chairs. The woman turned around to see me first, then the man. So she picks me up. And I'm sitting on her lap. And she's like, we're just excited. Like, hi. Like, I'm like, I missed you guys. And she's like, what are you doing here? And we're just so excited. And, after a second, she's sitting like this on her chair, and I'm sitting on her lap with my legs over here, and she's holding me like this, swiveling in her chair. And when she's doing that, I'm just smiling so big. It's just the best feeling ever. And I couldn't believe I made it, and it was so easy. And I'm just like embracing the moment. I could feel her, like, thanking God as she's holding me. I'm just like, life is crazy, and thank you. And she was grateful. And all four of us could read each other's minds. We didn't have to talk very much. Like, you know, when her mouth dropped and she's like, what the fuck do we do? Like, she wasn't talking. Like, I know what she was thinking. She's like, And she's saying we, like, what the fuck do we do? And I can hear you. Like, I know. I can fucking hear you too. So I can hear her. And she's grateful. And thanking God. And I'm learning, like, okay, so this don't happen all the time. So I'm grateful. And I'm just like, yeah, like, yes, this is awesome. And thank you. And this is so cool. And I'm just smiling like a motherfucker. And she's just hugging me. Like, she's just so grateful to be doing that. And I'm smiling just as fucking big, just letting her. And the king. Okay. The man had a king vibe. The woman had a queen vibe. And dude had a dude vibe. He was dressed in street clothes. Okay, the king and queen, I'm not saying they were wearing crowns at all. What I'm telling you is what they felt like. The king, I don't remember faces. I don't remember clothes. I remember dudes' clothes, but I don't remember theirs. I don't remember faces, and I don't remember clothes, but I remember vibes. I remember when I got back, the dude on King Vitamin cereal is what reminded me of my guy. The queen. This is another thing. This is another reason why I've been asking everybody, how did I describe her? Because now I'm describing her as the alien on Lilo and Stitch at the beginning of the movie, where Lilo's in trouble. I'm not Lilo, where Stitch is in trouble. And it's the tall woman, alien, fucking queen. And there's a circle in the room. And Stitch is in trouble and she's talking about him going to Earth and stuff. Her. I'm not saying she looked like her at all. She didn't have an alien face. I'm not sure if she was wearing them clothes, but I'm just telling you, that's what my girl felt like. I'm like, that's my girl. Like, that's exactly, I'm like, that's my girl. That's what she felt like a queen, like a boss, and she's figuring shit out. And so that's what I call him. King, queen, and the dude. The third guy. So she's rocking me, having the best time in the world. And the king, he's like, come here, like, let me get some of that. And I sit up, and it's like I'm sitting on her lap, like, and I sit up, and I look, and I slide off her lap, and I jump off, and in one jump, I jump towards him on his neck, and I catch him, and I can feel him. He picks me up like this, and he puts me down on his lap, and so I'm facing, like, the queen's behind me, and I'm sitting on his lap, and this is where the wall is, and this is where the halo starts to curve. So all I see is him and the wall, and the door's just a little bit that way. And he's like tickling, like, what are you doing, you little rascal? How'd you get here? And what the heck? What are you doing here? And I'm like, I don't know. I'm like, I went to sleep. I know I can get here in my dreams. He's like, oh, he's like, your dreams, huh? Okay. And he, this motherfucker, he, he's like, oh, your dreams? Okay, okay, yeah. And he fucking hits a button. He's like, oh, okay. And I'm like, yeah, yeah, okay. Like, what are you doing? But I know what he's fucking doing because we're out. I know what you're doing. I know what you just hit. Okay. I couldn't, you hit the button to where I can't astral travel anymore. I went, the first place I went anywhere, I went right up there and, oh, you ain't going nowhere anymore. Okay, so, and me and him, we had our own vibe too. Like, I don't remember word for word, and I'm not saying this is what he said at all, but like, you're being a good girl, like, yeah. And he didn't have to ask me that, because I know he's been watching me, and he knows I've been a good girl. So I don't think that's what he asked. He didn't have to ask me that. But whatever he asked, I'm like, well, yeah, like, yeah. And he said something else, like, I don't know. For example, have you been listening to music? Yeah, yeah. Have you been writing it down? Like, no, like, I'm 5. I can't read and write. And it's funny, it's tickling me. Like, I can't fucking spell when I'm 40 either. I probably shouldn't have said that up there. Okay. So, we're just having the best time, right? So I said hi. And then I turned around to say hi to dude. And I look, and this motherfucker, he's sitting at his computer, at his buttons, like, you know, on the Pixar short where the alien doesn't know the buttons, and that dude's getting thrown around the room and the house almost gets crushed, and then the other alien comes and fixes it in his arms. That was his vibe. And I look, and he's fucking around. And I'm like, what are you doing? Like, I know you don't even know what to do. And you're on max. And I'm right fucking here. You have nothing to do. Like, what the fuck are you doing? But I knew this just by looking. I'm like, what the fuck is he doing? Like, why? Like, do you not know this is fucking awesome? I turned back around like, whatever, like, it's fucking weird. Like, he's the one that told me how to fucking get here, and he's just ignoring me. But it was like at that second, all 4 of us knew, I know he's on bullshit. So I turned back around, and I don't know, I think I'm standing up, checking out their buttons or whatever, and the queen, she's talking about my dreams must be a superpower, and just look where you are, because I'm like, that's that's not a superpower. And she's like, well, just look where you are. And I do. I start looking around again. I start looking around the room. But then I feel like it's okay to look at this halo. I don't know why I didn't feel like it was okay to look. But you said it. I'm like, okay, so I look. Inside. Like, I see the buttons, but now I'm going to look inside. And I look over, and I can see my bedroom. I can see my toys I was just playing with. I can see my bunk bed. But I can see me sleeping through the bunk bed on the bottom. And I'm like, oh. I'm like, I need to go. You gotta bring me back. And she's like, no. She's like, what? She's like, I was like, my mom's gonna be worried about me. I gotta go. And she's like, no. She's like, I can never check on you. And she's like, what? She's like, see this button? She's like, she hit it. She's like, no, just wait. I'm like, okay. And like 2 seconds later, my mom comes in the door and checks on me. And I'm like, oh my fucking God. Like, I knew that's what you guys were doing up here. I knew you guys were up here pushing buttons, make me fucking do things. I knew. I fucking knew it. I don't know. I just knew. And I thought it was funny. And I was under that. I was sitting under that. So I see my mom come in. I think it's funny as fuck. Checks on me, goes out. The king and queen weren't paying 100% attention to me. I'm not sure about dude. I know all these buttons are important. I'm not sure exactly what does what. But I know that one button will make my mom go check on me again. So, they're talking, not paying attention. I look over at dude. He don't give a fuck. So, I hit the button. And I just sit back on her lap. I wait. And 2 seconds later, my mom comes in the door. And I bust out fucking laughing. I'm like, oh my God, that's so fucking funny. And dude's laughing. And the king and queen are like, this bitch, did she just... And I'm watching my mom, and they're laughing, but more like, is she fucking serious? Did she just... First she's up here, and then she's gonna hit this button right in my fucking face. Like, they were laughing too, but more like, are you fucking serious kind of laugh. And I'm laughing like it's fucking fun, and he's laughing just, it's fucking funny. So we're all just laughing. Like, it's for real. I'm having the best fucking time up there. Like, everything I do is just the best fucking time. After all that, I'm like, let's do it again. And she's like, no. She's like, we can't do it again. Because if your mom feels like checking on you 3 times in 5 minutes, she's going to feel like waking you up. She was explaining free will to me. So I'm like, okay. So you push buttons, but I still have a choice on what to do. She's like, yeah. I'm like, okay. So if we make my mom come in there, she might shake me and wake me up. She's like, yeah. She's like, and you can't go back right now because we need to talk to you. Okay. I just had to take a break. Okay, so she's like, you can't go back yet. because you have to talk to you. And she said, people who can see us as babies forget as they grow that we're here. And I'm getting older, and as I'm getting older, I'm seeing them and playing with them and talking to them, and like I'm going the opposite direction. And they need to make me forget. She said, we need to make you forget. And I started to cry because I didn't understand how I was supposed to live every day not knowing that they're up there. And she said, and I'm crying, asking, and telling her not to do it. And she's saying that I'll be fine, and everybody's fine, and you won't even remember. You're not gonna miss us. You won't be scared. You're not even gonna remember. And I'm crying, like, no, like, I'm not gonna forget you. Like, it's impossible. Even if I tried, no matter what you do, I'm not gonna forget you. And she's hugging me. Her and the king are trying to explain to me why I need to forget. And I'm sitting on her lap. And I'm crying, telling her not to do it. I'm like, they're telling me they have to, and why. Or that's why. I shouldn't be remembering them. And she was like, I was crying. And she was like, he's gonna be with you later. And I look, and I have to turn around. And now he's at his desk. But now he's not typing anymore. Now he's like this. And he's just watching the king and queen trying to make me stop crying. And I look back at him and he's just like no expression, just looking. And I look, and she's talking about him. He's gonna be with you later. And look, he's all dressed, he's all ready to go. And he is what you are. And that's when I quit looking, and I turned all the way back around, and I'm crying. And I look at her, and I'm like, he's what I am? She's like, yeah. Yeah. See, he's dressed. He's all ready to go. And I didn't get it because he's white. I forgot to tell you guys that. All three of them are white. He's white. He's a man. He's grown up. And he's up here pushing buttons. So that's why I'm like, he's what I am. She's like, yeah. I'm like, okay. And, they're trying to make me leave. Practically pushing me. Not really, but I can feel what they're trying to do. They're trying to make me leave. And I won't. Like, I can't fathom it. Like, how do you expect me to let go and walk away by myself? Like, I'm not, I think they're trying to get me to leave, and I'm not leaving. Like, you have to make me leave. And, I'm hugging the king bye. And then I'm hugging the queen bye. Second. And I think to go tell dude bye. I'm still crying hysterically. And I let go. And I go running over to do it. And I go running, and I'm crying, and I go jump, and he picks me up, and he turns me around, so his back, and he's sitting in his chair, and I'm right here, and the king and queen are behind him, and he's holding me, and I'm standing, and he's rocking, and he's like, don't cry, don't cry. He just kept saying that over and over again. You know how when you're crying and someone hugs you and they talk to you and it makes it worse? That's what he was doing. Like, aren't we trying to make me stop crying so I get the fuck out of here? Like, shut the fuck up. Like, I'm bawling in his shoulder. And I don't know if he had on 2 hoodies or a hoodie and a jacket, but it was a lot. Enough to where my whole face was just buried and I'm fucking sobbing. And he's rocking. And that's all he would say, don't cry, don't cry. It's kind of awkward, but still mine. So, after a minute, I'm like, can't you just come now? And he pulls me up. And he's wiping my tears. And he's like, no. He said, we gotta wait a little bit. And, he was like, look. And so I'm in front of him. And his desk is right here. He's like, look. And he starts telling me what all those buttons are. But I'm still crying. And I can't see. Like, I'm full of fucking tears. And I can't breathe. And that's when I knew that he was what I am. Because he started telling me, like, I had questions for the queen about her buttons that I didn't ask. I just wondered and didn't ask. So I'm standing with him, and he's telling me about his buttons. He's telling me questions I had for her. Like, okay, he knows what I was. We're all mind reading. We all know what each other's thinking already, and I know that immediately. I know it right away. She knew, what do we do? And I knew that button, I don't go anywhere. Like, I know we don't have to talk very much. So he was like answering all my questions, and I'm crying and not really paying attention. I'm just trying to listen out of respect for an adult trying to teach me something. But really, I'm like where were like what where were you 5 minutes ago when I was calm? Because I'm not. I'm just like I'm just trying, and I can't even see what you're doing. But I caught it. And he's just talking. And I stopped crying. And I kind of smiled a little bit. And he stopped. And he looked. And he's like, what do you want me to do? And I'm smiling. And I'm like, after I leave, I want you to hit that button. And he's smiling. He's like, okay, I will. And I start smiling. Like, okay. It was kind of rude. Because what that button did overrided the king and queen. This button is going to make me remember. So, and it also had to be after I left. He can't do it now. I had to say, after I leave, hit that button. He's like, okay. And we're like, yeah. And he's like, okay. He's looking at me dead fucking ass. He's like, what else do you want me to do? And I'm cool. Like, that's all I fucking wanted. I'm like, looking dead ass right back at him. Dead ass. I don't care what you do. Just hit this button. I don't care what else you do. He's like, no. He's like, no. Looking at me. He's like, no. I can't hit these buttons without you telling me to. So, what else do you want me to push? And I'm telling you, I was trying to pay attention, but I couldn't. I'm sobbing hysterically, trying to hear over him and trying to see. So, I don't know. I really don't know what all these other buttons do. I only caught what this button does. This button makes me remember. That's the only thing I caught. That's the only thing I wanted. It was the only thing I heard. It's the only thing I was listening to. I'm like, dead ass. That's all I want you to do. I don't care. Do whatever you want. I don't care. Just hit that. And like he stopped smiling, as big as me. And he just starts talking. And I don't know exactly what he was saying. I just remember my reaction. So, I stopped crying. I'm smiling. I'm listening to him talk. And all of a sudden, I get mad. Like my eyebrows are like what? Like what the fuck? And I know I just stopped crying. Don't start crying again, but I can feel it. Like I'm telling myself don't start crying. So I'm like mad. And I cut him off. I don't even let him finish. I'm just mad. And I'm like, I watch Sesame Street. I know what an ocean in a different language is. I was mad. And he was like, oh, you watch Sesame Street? Okay, I'll put some stuff in there for you. For you to learn. And that pissed me off. Like, you just told me what your job is, what all your fucking buttons do, and you're gonna come at me surprised about Sesame Street? How do you not know Big Bird and Snuffleupagus is my dudes? I watch them every day at noon, like 7 days a week. How do you not fucking know? So it pissed me off. Like, I know what that is. And then, oh, you watch Sesame Street? Like, then I'm pissed. I'm crying. Like, yeah. Oh, we're all mind reading. They know. He's still trying to play her. It's pissing her off. And I'm like, yeah. You just, not only are we mind reading, you just told me what your buttons do. Yeah, I watch Sesame Street. I know you're watching me every fucking day. So, I'm crying again. Hard. And he was like, no. He's like, look. And he turns our bodies again. And he puts his hands on his buttons. He's like, this is how you're going to know me. It's 1986. I'm 5 years old. I can't fathom a computer, but I can fathom a table tilted up towards you with a whole bunch of buttons. He's trying to explain to me, I'm going to have one of these. A small one the size of my hand. I'm like, bullshit. I'm pissed off. Now you're lying to me. Now you're flat out fucking lying to me. I'm not, like, no. He's like, no. He's like, this is how you talk to everybody. He's like, this is how you talk to your mom. He's trying to explain to me the distance and the language doesn't matter, because this is how we talk, and this is how you're going to know me. And I was mad. And I asked, I don't know. One of us are talking about buttons again. And I'm looking at him. I'm like, what button fixes that? What button makes you not live there or speak my language? What button does that? He's like, he's looking at me and I'm looking this way. He's like, those buttons are over there. And I look. I'm looking at him, but I look, and it's where I came in. There's another room inside of this office with glass windows with bigger buttons, but less. And then that door I seen is like directly from that. And that's where I came in, like ahead of that door. I didn't look completely behind me and see a completely another room full of buttons. So, I'm like, he's like, I can't push some buttons. And I look behind him at the king and queen, and they're like, they're like, no. They're like, we can't, no one can push some buttons. And I'm pissed. Like, and he said something. I don't know what it is. I think it had to do with music. But like, he said, can you do that? Can you do that for me? I'm like, well, yeah, I do that in my sleep. Like, whatever it was, I don't know what it was, but whatever it was, I'm like, fuck yeah. Like, yeah, I can do that. Bring me back. Because I thought, if I do this, the faster he comes. I ask, when is he coming? And he just said, when I need him most. Which is an infuriating answer. Because there were times where, when I was a kid, and even a year later, I don't think I processed that he had to be a baby. Because even a year later, I'm waiting for him to walk in the door. Like, how can this not be a time where I need him most? I'm waiting for him every day. You know, people come. I'm waiting for him to come through the door every day. And he doesn't come. And, so that's just how I'm figuring. I didn't know he had to be a baby first. Because I expected him a lot. You need me the most. And there's so many instances. Isn't this? I need you the most right now. And he never came. So I lost faith in that part. Maybe 10, 11. Just where things don't get easier. I got abandonment issues, bad, too many. And that's probably my first one. That was probably the breaker. But it was just a bad answer. So I'm starting to walk away. No. He told me to just go back. He can't bring me back. Just go back the way I came. And I look, and it's by that office. And we're hugging by. And I start walking that direction. And I knew it's been a minute. And I knew it was kind of rude how me and him were talking about overriding what they do, the king and queen. So I'm walking away. I'm like, I stop. And I turn around. And I wave at all three of them. And all three of them are looking at me. And I'm done crying. I'm smiling. And I'm like, I'm not going to forget you guys. And they're just beaming at me like I'm the cutest thing in the world. I'm just waiting. And I turn around and I start walking towards that room. And do it as like in music. He's like, that's how you're gonna know me. Computers, dreams, and music. I'm like, okay. And music, okay. Then I get to where I was, and now there's like a fucking poltergeist hole, like white clouds lit up that they expect me to jump to. And I just get there and I look and I'm like, oh hell no. Like I turn around like I ain't jumping through that. And I'm looking and the queen was like, oh, she's like, how's that? And I turn back around and I look and the clouds open up and stairs go down to my bed. I'm like, okay, yeah, cool. And I just very gently start going down the stairs. And I remember the last step. I knew I was still dreaming. I know I can jump on the top bunk, so that's what I was going to do. The bottom step, I was going to start jumping on my bed. No, it wasn't the top bunk. I thought I could jump through the damn, I can see. I'm coming from there. I'm going to jump on the bed. But in one jump, the stairs, and I jump. But instead of jumping, I just feel myself go into my sleeping body. And it felt like the king. Like, the fuck you are. Like, the fuck you are going to jump on your damn bed. But I wake up and I look and I don't see the black circle anymore. And I cry again. And my mom comes in and I tell her it's a dream. A bad one. Because I don't want to tell her where I just came from and what I just made her do. And yet, I did tell. I told a lot of people. But I just knew not to tell her right now. And besides that, I'm crying. I'm crying again. I just was bawling my fucking eyes out. He made me stop. I come back. I thought he didn't push the button. And I'm crying again. Just as bad as I was crying up there. My mom didn't even know. And I couldn't tell her. I couldn't make up anything. I didn't lie. I can't make up a dream. I can't tell her. I don't think I made anything up. She didn't know what to do. I'm just crying. It's a bad dream. It was, I guess. There are a couple instances I was like I might get into. Like, when my dad took me to see American Tail, there was a year from when I was 6, when I went up there, to 87. And in 87, I got mad at them. Maybe I'll save that for another chapter. But I prayed, and I knew they had buttons. And I quit talking to them, and I started talking about them. And I was mad at them just a year later. Yeah. So, but I'm gonna stop because the video got long. I don't know how this happened, but like, comment, subscribe. I don't know how these buttons work. I'm just gonna go for it. I'm trying to make this minimum chit chat. I'll talk more in the next one. Loves and light.